All right, recording. So with that, the first topic is Omar's backend config policy. Do you want to give a share screen and demo that, or?
Yeah,
Yep.
sure.
I'll stop sharing then.
Okay, how do I do this share screen? Oh, have I never shared screen from this before? Hold on a second.
Yeah, I might force you to restart then.
Did that work?
Yep. Yep, we see your screen.
Okay, great. All right, so we've added this backend config policy. And the main idea here is to expose configuring the Envoy clusters. So this is basically a port of the Glue upstream API. And right now we have exposed a few options like HTTP protocol configurations and SSL config. This is more extensive than the backend TLS policy that comes from the Gateway API. And we're planning on adding load balancer configuration, health check, and outlier detection. Those are what's on the roadmap currently. And there might be a few other toggles that we need from the Glue upstream API that we're going to implement. What else do I want to say? I guess that's kind of it. Any questions? Nope.
I guess, do you want to quickly go over the tests that we have added, like in the PR that just went in?
Right. So testing wise, there's unit tests in the plugin level, and then there's some more extensive tests in the form of translator tests and the setup tests. And there's also some end-to-end just to like check that we're configuring Envoy correctly.
Well, are there any gaps right now with the old upstream and the new backend config policy?
There's definitely we haven't exposed everything yet. Like we've exposed what they call the connection policy in Glue.
Mm-hmm.
That's most of these values here. Then the SSL config, we have most of that. And the load balancer, which is in review, exposed. I think it has everything that is currently in the Glue API. But then Glue has some other kind of one-off things like stream window size and stuff like that we could easily add in the future. I think most of these things down here we don't have, so. But it should be easy enough to add as needed.
Yeah, makes sense. Thanks.
Thank
I
you.
think you also had a question.
Oh,
Yeah,
Nathan,
I have just a quick question. I haven't looked at this PR, but what's sort of interesting to me, if you could just dig a little bit into the per connection bytes, like if we set that at multiple levels, what's the behavior there? Because I know with a lot of the different, at least because we have Envoy as the backend, there's a lot of different ways to set the buffer limits, and sometimes even when you think you have something permissive, because of how it actually has its hierarchy. I personally been confused a lot around just saying what is the actual applied limit. So can I ask what the merging or inheritance looks like here?
I don't think we set that value anywhere else, do we? Per connection. I think the only place to set it is there currently, but
Okay, so then we should be safe with it. Cool. Thank you.
Yeah, I don't know. What were you thinking, that we expose it somewhere else, or that it's set on a route or something?
There's a lot of different ways where we can. There's lots of different toggles in Envoy proper to set this type of thing, and as we add them into our user-facing API, all the different toggles. It's just really good for us to be aware of where the other ones are, because it can easily, at least for me, get very confusing as to say, like, oh, what's the final behavior that I'd expect as a user, right? So as long as it's not really being said anywhere else and there's nothing else that's sort of doing this yet in kgateway, we're probably fine. But yeah, just something I think we need to think about when we add anything related to buffer limits.
That makes sense. I think we'll keep it in mind. Thank you.
I guess I had a question. There's target refs and target selectors. So what's the difference between the two?
Okay, yeah, target selectors lets you pick by labels.
Okay.
I don't know. I copied the description from where we had it set elsewhere. I think it could be more descriptive. Yeah, target refs lets you reference like specific service. Target selectors lets you pick by labels.
Is it one or the other, or can both be set? So like if I have a target ref and a target selector, is it like additive, or is it or is it like one has to be set?
That is a good question. I'm pretty sure it's additive. I'd have to check with Shashank, but I'm pretty sure we just take everything that's selected.
Mm-hmm.
I'll double check on that though.
Well, any other questions? Let's see.
Sorry, just to chip in, I think another thing to note is for the target ref, like it's written there, it has a maximum value, and then the target selectors, it's unlimited.
Yeah, that's a good call out. Maybe we should have the max items set for target selectors as well. I know there was some internal discussion on like when you should use max items or like when we shouldn't.
Yeah. I think even the max of 16 was kind of like arbitrary.
Yeah, I think it's mostly for the cell logic, so it like it doesn't get out of bounds, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I think overall we should probably be consistent throughout our APIs and set max item limits of like relatively, high amounts. But we also want to make sure like there's no breaking changes. So if this has already like been in the release, in a stable release, then we should make sure that like going forward the additional fields like match, right?
Yeah, that's a good call out. I'll take note of that.
Awesome. Okay. Was there anything else that we wanted to talk about with the backend config policy?
That's all I had.
Cool. Okay, let's move on. I think we have a couple more items. Let me take over the screen share.
Right.
Okay, so next on the list we have Jenny, this action item. So it's very apt because Omar just gave a demo.
Yeah, just a couple of quick ones. So we want to make Omar and Christian maintainers. They've been both doing great work in kgateway. I think so per our docs, we just need to make sure there's no objections from any other maintainers, and then we can get these merged. So just seeing, is everyone good with this? Any objections for both Omar and Christian?
I think that's a no, right?
Yeah, I didn't hear anything, so.
Actually, maybe this is a good opportunity to like talk through the different tiers so we have this community repo, right? So what are the requirements, I guess, for being a maintainer, Jenny?
All right, yeah, it's in the, I think if you click on that ladder, yeah. So we kind of have, so the level before this is org member, and for that you just need basically one merged PR, and you're expected to keep contributing, at least some reviews per year. So that one lets you, I think once you're an org member, you basically get like triage access. You can like review PRs, but your approvals won't count. To become a maintainer, you have to be a bit more established. You have to be, I think it said 20 20 PRs merged. So a bit more active and a lot of like reviews also. Contribute to discussions and helping with the direction of the project. So for this one, you need someone who's a current maintainer to kind of open a PR to nominate you. And then you need 2 other maintainers to approve that are in the kind of the team that you want to be a maintainer in. We currently have, it's just broken down into controller, docs, or community. So all the kgateway code would be in controller. So yeah, just need the approvals and no objections, basically. And then once that's merged, then you get, now your like PR approvals will turn green. The check mark will count. And I think you have a bit more permissions in the repo.
Yeah, awesome. That was a great overview. I guess, so quick question, like I know Omar is applying as a controller maintainer. Is Christian applying as a community maintainer, or how do you?
Yeah, Christian is going to be community and docs. He's written a bunch of blogs and he's been doing a lot of outreach for us. So I think both of those are pretty applicable.
Awesome. Are there any questions about the contributor ladder or like the process around it? I guess I had one question. Do we have a doc like that shows what the different roles are? So like community, like docs versus like.
So I'd just like to go through this as well. Is it in the kgateway? I'm not sure I've come across this.
I think it's a separate repo. So like in kgateway dev, we have kgateway, which all the code actually lives in, the website, community, which is the PRs that Jenny linked, that you can find in the community meeting notes, and various other repos. So this one I think has like the ladder and the list of everyone who is an org member and a maintainer.
Yeah, and the kgateway.dev is where the website lives as well. It's a good one to know about.
Yeah, that's a good call out. So like if you go to our nice little docs page, all of the docs actually live here. Actually, is Art on? Do you want to give a quick overview of like what's on the doc site?
Yeah, so this is like the entire website, and it's built through Hugo's static site generator, and it's pushed automatically with, I believe, Vercel. And so this is what you see when you go to kgateway.dev. It includes the doc site, which is mostly if you go, and it has the blog as well. And then in terms of like, if you ever want to update this, I mean, obviously you can just kind of control F in your project locally if you clone it, but if you go back to the GitHub repo,
yep.
If you go under content, that directory is where most of the actual like source pages. So if you click, for example, docs or blog, these would be the source markdown files that get automatically turned into the HTML that renders on the web pages. We might change this a little bit as we look into adding versioning. And so each version might be its own separate folder under content, but it will still be like the same repo and whatnot and that same structure. Was there anything else you wanted me to cover, Nina?
No, that was perfect. Yeah, I think that maybe this is worth like a good like future like deep dive into how to actually make like docs contributions. Because I know like personally, I don't think I've contributed to this repo. So it'd be interesting to like see, how do you build it locally and things like that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Awesome. Any other questions, or I think that was the last item. Here, I'll copy this to make sure that Christian also had no objections. Great. With that, I think that was the last topic. So is there anything else anyone wants to cover, or we can end the meeting a little early?
I think we're good to end. Thanks for driving, Nina.
Yeah. Thanks, everyone. See ya.
Thanks. Bye. Just